Today's guest, sixth generation rancher from the great state of Texas. He's an amazing guy, a father of two. You guys, if you follow him, you know him. His tagline, stay classy and ranch on. Tucker Brown. By the way, your TikToks are awesome, man. I love all of your stuff. Like, I've been following you for a long time, but
I appreciate
1928, is that right?
1895.
Eight.
But that picture from that video,
Oh,
picture was from 1928.
Gotcha. Okay, so 1895. Where did your family originally come from?
Oh, my family was breaking horses for the cavalry in the Civil War, up in Virginia, and got burned out in the Civil War, moved down to Calvert, Texas. And then from there, we've kind of moved around depending on the generation, up to Fort Worth to the stockyards and then out to Throckmorton.
No kidding. Man, can you imagine breaking horses for the cavalry, though? I mean, this podcast is going to be heavy on just thinking about what it would have been like back in the day, especially back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I mean, with no fences, nothing. But I mean, it's just that kind of blows my mind to think about breaking all these horses. Whether, I mean, right now, I mean, you look at horses, they're very broke. Back then, it's like, oh, hold it. The saddles are different. Everything's different.
Yeah. Not quite the same low stress training that we have today.
So, living up in Throckmorton, Texas, 6 generations deep, and you got 2 kids of your own. They're going to be coming up, being the 7th generation. I mean, kind of what are you trying to instill in them by keeping some of the same traditions that you guys still do, but also, I mean, you're big on using modern technology to also, whether you want to say make ranching easier, more profitable, however, but what's some things that you still want to instill in them?
Well, my grandmother said it for a long time. Our goal is to keep the ranch in the family and the family in the ranch. And to do that helps us treat it like a business. That we love tradition, but we find that we're doing our best when we blend those two together.
Yeah.
And whenever we blend that tradition and technology together, because it's a tool, the tradition is a tool, and the things that we love, and then the technology helps us, keep the ranch going. So,
Right.
I mean, really, if we can always focus on that of we say it kind of different of let's do what granddad did, because my granddad was using the best available tools. He was using the Hereford breed because it was the best breed at the time for the customer, and he was using the old open cab tractor because that was the best one available. And so we want to do what my granddad did, and that's using the best available tools, treating it like a business, doing what the customer wants, and not doing what granddad did, the same practice, but the same visionary is what we want to be.
Right. Talk about, I just was going somewhere. Are your girls pretty ate up with, I mean, the cattle, the horses, all 9 yards for it?
Yeah, so I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and then a baby on the way in about a month and a half. And so
Congrats.
I'll have 3 girls before I know it. And I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, they love it. My 4-year-old, I'm afraid, is going to be a horse girl because she loves horses. Man, she loves them. And then my 2-year-old, like she could really care less about the horses, but when she sees a cow, man, she's all about it. And
really?
We did a branding. We're branding calves the other day, and my 4-year-old jumped in there a few times to help me out and wanted to ride with me. And those were pretty special times. Those are some of the first times she's rode with me before, but like in the branding pen, she's never been a part of it, and it was pretty special.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
How about you when you're growing up? Is that like what you've always wanted to do, or maybe took a?
Not really. I mean, I loved it. It's kind of all I knew. I thought everybody ranched. I coming from a small town of 700 people, and everybody knew the difference between a bull and a steer and what end they ate and what end it came out of. But I was like, yeah, whenever I graduated high school, I was like, man, I want to do something different, something I can, maybe I can golf 3 days a week and, work the rest of the time. And so I thought I was going to get into physical therapy and come back for a couple of bull sales and Christmas. But when I went to college, gosh, I figured out real quick that connection to the land was just really special to me. I just didn't know how special it was because everybody I knew had it. And so going to college and being surrounded by people who didn't have that same connection were still great people. They just didn't have that same connection to livestock and land. And so, yeah, that was when I knew that I was like, yeah, I would be really silly if I didn't go back, because now I kind of know how much I really loved it.
And I don't know how to ask this. Is there ever times you sit there and you're just like, man, a 9-to-5 job, plugging in and plugging out and coming home, relaxing, sitting on your couch, watching another rerun of The Office, Yeah. I mean, is there ever times you're just like, man, that does sound nice? I mean, like you said, it is rewarding, but is there ever times you just sounds great?
Absolutely. My wife's a kindergarten teacher, and she works hard, and she kind of heckles me, or I kind of heckle her because she'll complain. She gets like a lot of Fridays off. They work 4 days a week, and she was like, "Oh, I got to work this Friday," and I'm like, "Really? I feel bad for you, man.
I know what day of the week it is." Yeah.
There definitely are times.
Yeah.
There are times when it sounds like that time off would be pretty cool, but the cool thing about ranching is it is seasonal, and you'll have those really busy times where I'm checking heifers and getting ready for a bull sale, and it's pretty brutal. But then when it gets hot, sometimes you can't work the cattle, you can't work the horses, and you just gotta stay cool.
Well, and I mean, I think right now in our society, and you can call it the Yellowstone effect, you can call it whatever you want, but I think a lot of people are like, man, I wish I could do that. It puts it in perspective when you're living it and you're like, man, this gets old. This is, and at any of those times you're just feeling maybe a little down on it, but there's a lot of people that would love to be in that position. I mean, they probably don't know as much as they think they do about it and what it all entails, but I mean, I think that really does put it in effect. Did your wife grow up in a ranching family?
She grew up in a farming family in the Texas Panhandle. Her dad's a really talented cotton farmer. And so, yeah, she understood that I wasn't going to be home at 5, and she understood, why we have to do some of the things we do. And it was a little different. I mean, I went and worked for my father-in-law for a little bit on the farming side and found out I knew nothing about farming and that it was totally different than ranching. But the lifestyle is similar. And so it goes back to that love for the job and the lifestyle. And so, yeah, I was thankful that found the farmer's daughter.
Yeah. Just staying on the topic of you growing up in Throckmorton, and I saw a video that you had to make an apology because there's somebody else, and especially in our world of rodeo, that grew up in Throckmorton. He is a 3-time world champion, and he is the 2-time and reigning Heelan champion of the world, Wesley Thorpe. But tell us about that story, because that was good. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Wesley, we all know he's extremely talented, and he was as in junior high and high school, and he was a couple years younger than I was. But we grew up here in Throckmorton. Football, Texas high school football is kind of king around here, and our school was really good at it, and so we just had a lot of everybody was just really bought into training, getting ready, football. And I remember when Wesley was like thinking about quitting to go rope full time, I was like, dude, why would you ever do that? No. What is roping going to do for you? Let's go win a state championship. Yeah. What are you going to do? Win a gold buckle? And he ended up quitting. And it's not like we were friends. It's not like I was like bullying him because of it, but giving my friend a hard time, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can't believe you quit to go rope. And then it wasn't very long later that he won his first truck before he could drive it. And I was like, maybe it's paying off. Yeah. So I was reminded of that after he won his third buckle. I was like, I told him that he should play football. Like what? Yeah,
did he say anything to the video when you apologized? Did he say anything to the video?
he commented on it, just like laughing, just like,
Yeah.
apology accepted, man. Good to see you doing things too.
Yeah.
And he called me laughing. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. And he doesn't live in Throckmorton. He lives down in Stephenville, doesn't he?
Yeah, he lives in Stephenville, and his
Yeah.
family still lives here, so he comes to Throckmorton quite a bit. His grandfather and parents still live here.
Yeah. So Clay and I, before you got on, we were talking about it, and this kind of goes in the topic of we were talking about technologies, but Clay and I were talking about a technology that you guys use, and being from up north, there might be some people that use it, but I've never seen it or never even heard of it, to be honest with you. But tell us a little bit about the collars on the cows with the invisible fence. I mean, the way I understand it, it's kind of just like a dog collar for an invisible fence, right?
It is. It's exactly like that. I mean, not exactly, because there's no wire underground that we have to build, but yeah, a Fence, Virtual Fence, is a company where there is a shock collar that we put on these cows, and we train them on a computer. We can build this virtual fence where we want it in our pasture. And then when the GPS finds that cow is getting close to that point, it'll beep at them, and they'll hear it. And then if they keep going, it releases a shock that they can feel it. And we've actually had a video of my dad. He's like, because I want to know what it feels like. Like a cop has to get hit by a taser to carry one. I feel like I got to get shocked by this. And he was like, yeah, it's no joke. After he did it, he was like, it's no joke. But I mean, for a cow, a 1,300-pound cow to feel that, it's got to be pretty stout.
Yeah.
Is it a pretty good size like collar?
It is. There's a big battery that's in it. Right now it's battery powered, the company that we use. There's some that are solar powered, which seems like more may be moving to. But right now the one we have is I don't know, it's like an 8x8, maybe a 10x8 box that hangs on their collar, and then a metal chain that goes around that just helps pass that electricity. And you train them for 4 days. It's really cool because we can split our pastures, and it helps with our grazing, and it's GPS, so we can see where they graze the most and where it needs the rest. So it's been really neat for our grazing. And whenever I'm calving or going to gather them, I can look up on my phone and see where they're at on the map. I'm like, okay, we're missing them. There's one in the corner. Let's make sure to not miss her. She's down in the creek. And man, that's been pretty handy.
Is it on an app on your phone so you can see it while you're out there, or is it only on the? Okay, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I can. It's a website, and so as long as I have internet, I can just log in on my phone. I can't build the fences on my phone, but
sure,
I can. It has to be on a computer to do that. But they're currently working on it, making an app easier to use. It's just the technology is so new, and it's already changed so much in the 2 years that we've used it. That gosh, in like 5 years from now, what we'd be able to do with it, I just feel like has so much opportunity.
Oh, no kidding.
Is I know that some dog like training collars are, $300. How much is something like that?
Well, you rent the collars from the company for, I think it's $40 a head.
Oh, okay.
So for each collar, you rent it for $40, and if it breaks or something goes wrong or it malfunctions, you can just send that back, and they will send you a brand new one. That's why you rent them instead of purchasing them.
Instead of buying.
The big purchase that you have to make is the tower that communicates from the computer, the GPS, to the collars. So between the computer and the collars is this tower that you have to buy, and they're about 10,000 each. And then it depends on your topography, because it's like a cell tower that has to reach. And if you have some big gullies or holes, it makes it a little more difficult. So we have 2 towers and then collars for all our cows.
No kidding.
I can see how that'd be such a great thing, though, like you said about the grazing and keeping them in certain little areas at, times you can, I'm sure it's worth it.
100%. That's awesome.
And a couple other things we've been able to use it for. Anytime we have cows that have a neighbor by them, we can virtually fence off the neighbor to keep those cows away from the neighbor's bull. Or if we have our bull turned out with our cows and it's a big pasture, we can cut that down into quarters to where the bull doesn't have to cover as much ground, and he won't miss any cows, or should miss less cows, while he's in breeding season. And so
Yeah.
there's been lots of, the reason we actually got into it was because we had a fire that got into our 4 main grazing pastures, and we had to arrest those, like the NRCS and some grazing fanatics, like, hey, if you don't rest that for a year, those cows are going to smoke that, and that ground will be hurt for a long time. And so we were like, do we fence it off, or do we not use our main grazing pastures? And so that's where we got Vince, and we just built a virtual fence around those burned areas, and we're able to keep the cows out.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
no,
cool.
that is so cool. How often do you find yourself just like, especially when you first got it, just looking to see where the cows are? And I feel like I'd just be on my phone, be like, oh yeah, 4473 is, what the heck's she doing over there? Why is she right there?
Yeah.
What is she itching against a tree? No.
Yeah, exactly. And I would look more, and I still do, not as much as I did, but the grazing maps were so interesting to me, of because I know the pastures well, and I'm like, so why are they grazing here so hard? And am I able to see it? Is that where the best grass is? Do I have some big blue stem over there, or is it because it's closer to the water? And so figuring out, that's where I was having a lot of fun, of trying to figure out why they were at these certain grazing areas, and where our best grass was, and how hard they would hit it, or do we need to rest it, things like that.
Wow. No, that's sweet. But man, let's talk about you a little bit, because you're kind of a celebrity in the Western world. You're there now. I know you don't want to admit it. I saw the smile, but trust me, you kind of are. I mean, let's look at this. We got 300,000 followers on TikTok, 180,000 on Instagram, and the most recent thing that literally came out, I think yesterday or this morning, you went to New York City and was on Vanity Fair.
Yeah, that was
Real
cool.
quick.
Talk to us about that.
Real quick, do you run your own like social? Does your wife help you? I mean, like,
Yeah,
make
I run it.
TikToks.
I run it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've hired some help. I've had help for a year now on helping me video, edit, things like that.
Yeah.
But I still manage, and
Because that's a job on its own.
Gosh, it really is. And
Yeah.
becoming more of a job all the time.
Yeah.
But New York City, holy cow. It was so cool. Just a really neat experience for me to go. I've never been. So just to be able to go, and then I didn't really know that, I felt like a peasant that went to the king's castle that didn't know it was the king's castle. Like that's what I was feeling like. But it was such a cool deal. They have this thing called expert reviews, and what they do is they'll, like the ones I've seen before, well, they will get like a Marine veteran, and he'll come in and watch movies from, like, war movies or clips from those movies or TV shows, and he'll say what's real and what's fake. Like, yeah, this is what actually would happen, but yeah, that's dramatized, that's fake, that's actually never happened. And so that's what I did. They had me watch clips from Yellowstone, from 1883, from
Lonesome Dove,
Heartland, Lonesome Dove, and just tell them what's real and what's fake in the best way that I could. So I haven't regretted anything I've said yet. So I didn't know if they were trying to get me up there to be like, so why do you pump your cows full of antibiotics? I didn't know if it was going to be something like that. Thankfully, they were some like really kind people, and they were purely curious of,
I'm sure,
what it was like.
Yeah, no, and I loved the Lonesome Dove one with the water moccasins, because if anybody watches Lonesome, that's my least favorite part of the whole entire movie. For one, I'm deathly terrified of snakes. Not afraid to admit it. Hate snakes so much. But you're like, we've had water moccasins, and I've never seen that many, and that might be a little dramatized. I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh. And then, the scene that I think every person in Western world, and especially, I mean, Clay and I both grew up in Montana, and I just moved to South Dakota here about a year ago, a little less than a year ago. But the scene from Yellowstone is when John Dutton and his oldest son, the one that died early on, I can't remember his name, but they went out and they saw a cow that had breached, and they went down and pulled the calf right there. Everybody always brings up that scene, that everyone I talk to. And so, but I do want to give you some flowers on that, because I thought you handled it as in a way that wasn't like, yeah, that's fake. like, hey, this is ridiculous. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't like that. It was educational, but it also was like, yeah, I mean, sometimes that does happen and we have to do X, Y, Z. And it was really good though. I thought you did a great job, and I think they asked the right person to go do that.
Appreciate it. That was my challenge. I didn't want to just crap on Yellowstone or any of these films because they're all super popular films, and it's not a documentary, so I'm not going to treat it like one either.
Right. Yeah.
It's a Hollywood TV show. And,
Yeah,
like
it's
there
gotta-
is a lot of truth in there.
Gotta have that little bit of drama or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dramatize it.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel the same way with some of my social media stuff, of where like I will put something in there that's humorous, and people are like, "Well, that's totally fake," and I'm like, "Yeah, like this is obviously."
Yeah. Yeah. That's the point of the whole deal here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you should get the joke. Like, it's not serious.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing is I feel like people in the Western industry, and when I say Western industry, I mean, I'm talking rodeo, ranching, farming, and I sometimes even put into like the hunting world sometimes into that as well. But the people are always like, oh yeah, that's fake. It's like, we're not appealing straight to you. I'm appealing to you as well, but I'm appealing to the people that have no clue and need some humor or some, relatable stuff to them, transferring it to. I mean, that's how I feel. I guess maybe I'm wrong. You're way more of have an influence than I do, but yeah.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, you really are, because I'm trying to speak in a way that our consumer can understand. And you said it exactly right. Like, I can reach the ranchers along the way, and they may not think it's cool that I saddle a horse, and I don't think it's cool that I saddle a horse. But there's 98% of people in the United States who think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And so if it's that easy for me to make that content and share it, and I'm trying to make content throughout the entire year, I need more ideas. I'm always looking for more ideas. What can I share? If all it takes is me saddling a horse and saying a joke while I'm doing it, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we look in our world, a guy that has made jokes for a lot of years now, who's made a living now for making the type of stuff, is Dale Brisby. I mean,
yeah,
the dude created an empire by making a joke.
He literally did. Yeah, he made a fake character.
Yeah.
Now he's built his own empire to have a rodeo arena in his backyard, and people who will get his horses and bulls ready for him, and then go sit in a booth. I mean, he is a businessman, and he lives about 30 minutes from me.
Oh, really?
And he's been, shout out to Dale, because he's been really nice and kind to me on helping me along with this social media journey. Because going into it, gosh, I didn't know what I was doing or how to protect myself in a contract that I write with a company or things like that. So he's been super nice, just to give me a little time and let me ask him some questions.
Pick his brain, yeah.
Yeah.
How did your social media journey start? I do want to ask that, because Clay and I were talking about this in our last podcast that just came out on Monday. We had Dougie Hall, everybody's favorite Indian, Dougie Hall, and he came on, and we were talking about how in our world, if you put yourself out there, and I think probably in every world, but especially in ours, if you put yourself out there, it's not really like, I don't know, quote unquote acceptable or like anything else to be carrying your phone around. You're not supposed to be on your phone. You're not supposed to be doing this, And so talk about how you started, and then the struggles kind of, and I don't know if you struggle, but the struggles of people, whether they hate or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, the terrible comments or whatever people like to put.
Yeah, I could talk about that for a long time. I've always had a love for media. I remember like the first thing that made me want to do like communicating or announcing or social media. I heard I think it was the Kentucky Derby in like 2010 or 11, and these two horses were racing, and you thought that one of those two was going to win, and one came from behind, and the announcer was going nuts, and it gave me chills, and I was like, whoa, like I want to be able to announce something that gives people chills like that one day. And so that's really what started my love for announcing and communicating and speaking. my parents were both national FFA presidents, and so they were very very talented speakers, and so I had some awesome coaches just to help me along the way to learn how to change my vocabulary and communicate with the right audience and things like that. But it started with doing sports radio. I'm in year 11 or 12 of doing
no kidding.
Yeah, high school sports radio, and in college I kind of started my own broadcasting company, and I would broadcast little 6-man football games, which is what Throckmorton is a 6-man school. And man, it was cool. I got to announce games in the Alamo Dome and for basketball, and I did the Cowboy Stadium for state championship football games. And it took me a lot of places, but it helped me learn how to paint a picture without people being able to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helped me in my social media, because now they can see the picture and I can describe it.
Yeah.
But social media started with code during COVID. We love at the ranch, we love marketing and going to conventions and meeting people, and because people like to buy from people they know, and if we can know more people, then that gives us the opportunity to sell more cattle. And when COVID hit, we couldn't go to those conventions, and I was kind of already doing some social media stuff, and but I had an intern who did a TikTok reel or a TikTok video, and he got 25,000 views, and he was pumped. And I was like, I could do that so much better. Like, if he's getting 25,000 views, oh my gosh, I could do so much better. And so I kind of started playing around with it, and I made kind of some Dale Brisby spin-offs of kind of the seed stock super puncher, and making fun of my dad being the seed stock super puncher. And it did kind of well. And I was like, well, that was kind of fun. Got a couple 100,000 views, and to me that was viral. And
yeah,
it felt good. But I kind of finally found a direction when I went to NCBA convention, National Cattlemen's Beef Association. They were giving in February of 21. They were giving away the Beef Advocate of the Year award. So who was advocating for the industry the most? And it was this young lady from California. She had 12 Hereford cows, first generation rancher. And I just remember thinking, like, I felt so called out. So I was like, this young lady who started her own ranch and has 12 cows is telling her story way better than I am. And I have I'm a storyteller. I have this really cool story of 6 generations and keeping the family in the ranch and ranch in the family. And I just felt so called out. Like, all right, here's my direction. Here's what I can do. So that's when I took it pretty seriously and started advocating for the industry, advocating for the ranch. And then it just, like a snowball down the hill, just rolled really fast to where people were like, are you trying to be an influencer? And that's when it started, of the heckling. Are you, what are you, trying to be a cowboy influencer? Are you trying to be Dale Brisby? What are you?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter what it is. People are going to heckle you. And I mean, it's one thing. And Clay and I have talked about this with different situations. It's one thing when your buddies heckle you, okay? You expect that. I mean, if you don't have friends, if you're a guy, you don't have friends if they don't make fun of you. I'm sorry. Like, that's the type of friends I have. And it's one thing, but then just for random people to come on and hate or whatever. One of my favorite things that I saw of yours, I don't remember exactly the post, and I don't even remember who posted it. I think it was just some random person, but they were doing, I honestly don't, I'm going to ask you because you'll probably remember this, but they were doing something on their place, and it did not need to be shown on, and you said something, and you said it very nicely. You were like, hey, man, like, yes, this happens. This is not a good thing, blah, 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 but you probably don't need to put it on there. And then the comments after that, they're like, oh, everybody, they need to see what it's like to be out here and all this stuff. And I don't even remember what it was. And we don't need to call anybody out or anything. But yeah, I appreciate guys like you. And I grew up in the hunting world, and I've always had the opinion of there's a whole lot more people trying to take it away than we are trying to keep it. And same in the Western world. And so, like, the bloody arrow or the bloody shots of, whether you shot a deer or an elk with a bow or whatever, like, when we would take pictures to post, like, I always remember taking a water bottle and washing off the blood so people didn't think, but yeah, I appreciate guys like you that, I don't know, think the same way in that.
Yeah, it was a video of, it looked like some I don't know, 5 weight calves or yearlings had fallen through the ice and drowned in a tank or a pond.
That's
Is
right.
what it looked like to me. I didn't know.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's what I was frustrated about, is that it was, even I, who ranch for a living, didn't know what was going on. So who knows what the general public is thinking? So I was like, man, at least put a description. Like, if you want to show this, describe what's happening, describe the situation. Like, here's a sad reality that when weather gets bad, and even though we try our best, this still happens. And so that's why we are staying out at 2 a.m. to break ice. And that's what that post, I think, should have looked like. And so, my comment was like, dude, like, at least explain it or don't show it.
Yeah.
And so, and I was those early comments back in 21 or 22, like, mean comments to me, I would take personally, and because I love people and I love to be loved too. And
well, and you're trying to educate them too of, like, that's not,
It was so frustrating. And now it really thickened my skin. And I had a guy tell me, the thing that really changed my mind was, he said, I was like, dude, it's really bothering me. How do you handle these hate comments? And he said, well, who's leaving the hate comments? I was like, I don't know, random people. He's like, okay, are they in ag or out of ag? I was like, well, kind of both, but mostly outside of ag. He said, okay, well, what people are you trying to reach with your content? I was like, oh, well, the people outside of ag. And he's like, well, if they're commenting, that's more engagement to the people you're trying to reach.
You've reached them. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, so if you are getting those comments, you have reached your goal. And so now I'm like, anytime I get it, it doesn't bother me anymore. It's thick in my skin, which I probably needed. But it's like, all right, I hit my goal, and that's going to get more engagement, which gets more people to see it. And then if I can do the educate, I'm never going to change that person's mind that did the hate comment. Right. But I can change people's mind that are on the fence and that are reading them. So I will respond to some, and I try to take my emotion out of it, because I will get mad sometimes. But I'm like, oof, okay, take the emotion out. Let's just talk about what's happening. So what's happening here?
Do you have
comments like that come from?
Yeah. Do you have like a single, probably, like, if you don't, regardless of what video you post, there's one person that'll always comment something negative or whatever?
Yeah, it'll come through in phases.
Yeah.
They'll come for a while and then they'll leave. And a lot of times, if you don't respond, they end up quitting. Or there's been a few that I've blocked. Like, yeah, I'm tired of that. See you later. So, but it is fun now because I kind of have a following that stands up for me. And so I don't have to say anything, which just, again, helps get that rolling, get more views, which is, like, for the business, for the social media business, is good.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I think that's the tough part about social media, is taking the leap, just doing it and not caring.
Yeah, it really is. Because at the start, you're not supposed to have your phone out. You know, you're a rancher, you're a cowboy, you're supposed to be looking at the cows or your horse or what deer is over the hill. And that was a tough transition, because I knew I wanted to share it, but I also needed to keep the respect of the cowboys I was working with. And so I found out that what really helped is when I started making deals with companies like Beck's sunglasses, that I could get I would work and get a few Beck sunglasses, and I would give it to them. Be like, hey, thanks for helping me. You know, thanks for holding the phone for me on this video. And once I started doing that, they were kind of bought in to help me. The heckling continued, but
they wore the free sunglasses.
Yeah,
but they wanted the sunglasses, man. Yeah, it has been funny because it's gone through these phases of, they were questioning me at first, then they were heckling me. Then they're like, oh, it's working. You're a Mr. Influencer. It's been quiet for a little while. Because it's been working. They've been quiet. And now, since the Vanity Fair, now they're like, dude, I knew you before you were famous, bro. Okay. Sure you did.
Yeah. Man, I've stood behind you this whole time. Aren't you the one that told me to quit doing this?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Oh, no, I applaud you. I love seeing it. And you and I have something in common. And actually, this is the first time we've ever really, like, talked. But we have something in common through, this is a little plug for him, through the Justin McKee Broadcast Clinic. Talk I mean, I'll talk about mine too, but go ahead and talk about your experience and how you enjoyed that.
I'll start by saying it was one of the best things I've ever done for my speaking and social media business.
Yeah.
Just because I've always completely respected his ability to capture a crowd, capture an audience, say the right thing. And like he always makes you feel like you're either his best friend or whatever you have to say is extremely important, which makes, which I think that's just like, I do think he cares about what people say.
Oh, I agree.
So I think that's part of it. But yeah, when that clinic came open and I've been talking to my parents about it, like whether I want to do it or not. And we were last year, so had a, 8-month-old baby. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. Do I invest that much money and leave my wife for a couple of days? And well, they ended up my parents got it for me for a Christmas present. This is what ended up happening because I was just standing on the fence. I was like, I think I'll wait till the next one. I don't know. And
you should have, because then you could have went with me. But anyways,
I know, right? Which probably would have happened.
Yeah.
But gosh, it was so cool just to be around, 12 other people that were loved the media and learning as much as you did. Like we're invested enough to become.
Yeah.
And then his ability I learned so much about his ability to prepare and how much he prepares. That's really what I probably use the most from that is how he writes his notes and how often he prepares and how many phone calls he makes to get his information right. And so that just always, that blew me away and has changed my business a lot.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think for any of those people that are listening to this podcast and you have interest at all in public speaking, and that's the thing is like, I know he called it a broadcasting/announcer clinic, and there is a lot of things about rodeo announcing and, how he does things, but it's not all announcing. I mean, I would say it's not even over half announcing, it's, and I think he'll agree with this, even if you don't like Bob Tallman to me is the GOAT, the greatest rodeo announcer to ever walk the face of the planet. And Justin even says it there, but the way Justin can break it down and break down why, this guy says this, why do I say this? What am I seeing? How do I put it into words to be correct, but also to appeal to the people that have no clue about rodeo or Western way of life? And so it was really cool for me to go as well. And, I'm not like experienced like a lot of the guys. I mean, I do announce for a living, but it was just really cool for me to go and just break it down and just think about things. I'm like, man, I never even thought about that. And yeah, I really had a blast going. So Justin, you're the man.
He is the man. And since then it's been really cool too, because I got to go pretty soon after that. I got to go to the Pendleton Roundup for the first time, which was incredible. I'd always heard about it, seen it. And I got another social media deal. It was through Pendleton Whiskey. They invited me to go with them, and which was incredible on its own. But we had a free time, and I knew he was there, and so I texted him and been like, "Hey, any chance I can come watch you do your thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, like I'm up here, walk up." And
no
so
question
asked. No question asked. And so that meant a lot to me. Like I don't think that would have happened if I didn't do the clinic.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat that he was willing to let me come up and watch. And turns out they had a horse go down, and so he was stalling, and he just goes, he's like, "Well, we have a little bit of a stall," and he looked over at me and he goes, "But I do have Tucker Brown here," and he pulled me in, and we just did a short little interview while the horse was down.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh, perfect, thank you. That was great." And I was like, "You rascal, dude! I wasn't ready for that."
Yeah. I don't even have my right jeans on right now, Justin. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
It was cool. That was Justin McKee Clinic was one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah. No, cool. I agree. And I think that goes to show you're not just another number. He's not just looking for your money and then see you later, and he never talks to you. It's not like that, because he showed up in Rapid this last year and he was speaking. It wasn't even for the rodeo, but he was speaking at a little convention right next door, and he called me and said, "Hey, do you have time to just say hi?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I ran over there and listened to him speak. And yeah, it's not just a transaction for him. It's a friendship and a mentorship and all that. So yeah, it's really cool. But no, I loved every second of it. Clay needs to go.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
You do.
I'm a big time speaker, so
Yeah. Yeah.
no, but
Right.
like you said, I mean, it's important even if you don't announce and stuff. So I think,
Oh yeah,
like being on probably helps on social media a bunch. So yeah,
and
that's
it pushes you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, trust me,
It makes you uncomfortable.
very. Like and like I said, I take it from a guy who announces, but like doing the recaps of the Western Sports Roundup, dude, I was just as lost as anybody else. And it's kind of under my realm of things. And it's when you just haven't done something and you have to break it down like that, it's like, whoa, I had no clue. And yeah, it was Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Montana Silversmiths. Montana Silversmiths sets the gold and silver standard of excellence, handcrafting fine Western jewelry and world-class buckles. If you guys have never been to their website, go over there, get yourself a buckle, a necklace, hat picks, you name it, they've got it right there at montanasilversmiths.com. Tucker, do you mind if we do a segment brought to you by our friends at Montana Silversmiths, blind ranking the most iconic cowboys?
Let's do it.
1 being the most famous, most iconic, 5 being the least. Okay? All right, here we go. Gene Autry.
Oh, and I've got a good blind, so I don't know who's next.
Yeah, you don't know who's next.
Man. Gene, clearly one of the top, but he's not a guy who's going to be in my top 3. I feel like you're going to throw somebody else in, so I'm going to go 4.
4 with Gene. John Dutton.
He is famous. Okay. Dang. Okay.
He is well known.
I can't put him above Gene, and now I'm going to be hurt on my back end. Super well known, but I can't put him above Gene, so I'll have to go 5.
Augustus McCrae.
Come on.
Hey.
Come on. I love me some Gus. Like, because of my personal bias of my love for Augustus McCrae, I don't feel like I can leave my number 1 to chance. And so I'm going to throw him to 1. I feel like
I like it.
Like he's going 1.
Roy Rogers.
Oh, that would have been a good one. He's the number 2. I can't put him at 3, so I'll go 2.
Man, you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry when
John Wayne. What are you
John Wayne. John Wayne. All right.
Number
so
3.
you got Augustus McCrae, Roy Rogers, John Wayne, Gene Autry, John Dutton.
Yeah, I'd get some hate for that one. But.
No, I mean it was blind.
Now that you know him, what would you have put him? John Wayne 1.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't really change much.
I'd just switch Augustus and John Wayne, I think.
Yeah, just put John up.
Yeah.
I probably would, because I think Roy Rogers I might put him at 2nd. Those top 3 are pretty interchangeable, really, for me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Roy Rogers was an icon. I mean, he really was. Yeah. He was John Wayne before John Wayne.
He was. You're right. Yeah.
So, no, that was good. Okay,
like
the
that
second game I've got here, it's not really a game, but I want to hear some rebuttal since you're well-spoken. I got to pull this up on my phone. We're bringing it up on the website right now. Hold on. I got South Dakota service here. What the heck is this thing called? Okay, top 10 reasons not to eat cows, brought to you by PETA.com.
Ooh.
So I want to hear some rebuttal for this, okay?
Okay, all right.
All right, here we go. Number 1 reason, your body will thank you. Eating beef products is a good way to increase your chances of becoming and developing heart diseases, diabetes, and arthritis.
I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay.
I'm trying not to laugh. Man, there's so much data and science. I love knowing the data before I post anything on social media, but there's so much data that shows the healthy aspects and how many minerals and vitamins that we're getting through beef. And so, yeah, the carnivore diet is pretty popular right now for a reason, because people are becoming healthy with it, and it's lowering inflammation in their body and healing things that they have been trying to fix with medicine for a long time. And not that I am a carnivore diet connoisseur or anything. I do love my veggies. I love some good green beans along the side of a big old steak. But yeah, so false.
Okay, false on the first one. Here we go. This one got me when I looked at this morning and was preparing for this. I was like, okay. Number 2, cows have complex feelings.
Complex. I kind of feel like I know how they feel all the time.
Cows are gentle social animals. They have the ability to recognize more than 100 cows, and they form close friendships with members of the herd.
We can give them, those personal feelings all we want to, and I'm sure they are able to recognize. They do run in groups. Like, I know that they can recognize other cattle and have like best friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But in a world where we're trying to feed people and do that, I don't know about the thoughts. I kind of think they're. I'm sure there are ways that they're smart, but if you
some
ever
of these,
work
I'm
with
just
them,
like,
I feel like
you got to be kidding me.
You figure out they're not.
Yeah. This one really got me. I'll do 2 more, but this one I don't know where they got this data from, but it says number 7, even cowboys don't eat cows anymore. I don't. Yeah, PETA, I think you're gonna need to figure out something different.
I didn't think they could get any worse than the first one, but
yeah, that one's.
Holy cow! I don't know one that doesn't.
I couldn't name you one either. Not a single person that I know. I don't even know if I know a person that's vegan or not, to be honest with you. I probably do, and they're probably going to listen and text me, but I can't think of it right now. All right, there's some good ones here, but I'm trying. Oh yeah, this is the one I wanted to end on. Animal agriculture pollutes the planet.
Pollutes the planet.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. The truth is, it has happened, but also the other truth is that we have fixed a lot of it, and no ranchers or farmers want to pollute the planet. And so now that we have the data from, the past 100 years of like, whoa, we messed up there, let's not do that again. And a lot of it has to do with water and being able to manage it and clean it. And we figured that out. So if we didn't have cows, it would be like we would have buffalo or some kind of herd animal. Like, there's going to be some kind of herding animal. But to be able, I'm going to welcome all of PETA back into reality, where we have people who want food and have the freedom to choose amazing beef in America that has the best beef in the world.
Yeah.
And that, the cows are helping prevent wildfires. The cows are sequestering carbon whenever they're eating. The cows are fertilizing the soil and making it better. Like the earth, it is the cycle that the earth needs some kind of herding animal, and we can do that with the cow and feed the world. And like, 2 of those at the same time, come on, baby. That's awesome.
Let's go. Yeah. No, I love that. I thought that'd be fun, because I was like, man, if anybody to pull up that, it has to be Tucker. I was like, he's got to have something for these. So no, that was good. Yeah. But man, I know you're busy and we don't want to take a lot of your time, but I do want to end with a couple more thoughts. I want you to give this is a 2-parter, but the first part, I want you to give some advice to maybe people that young kid or just somebody that wants to maybe get into agriculture, and maybe you didn't grow up in it, you're not around it a whole lot, but what is some piece of advice that you would give them trying to get into the world of agriculture?
Yeah, a couple things similar to how you and I went to this broadcast clinic. Yeah. I think there's opportunities for that, especially as you're a high school or junior high or even in college, of opportunities to go to the ag school, to work at the ag farm. Like, when those professors and teachers know that's what you want to do, like, that's their job. They want to help you do that. But if you're already out of that and you're wanting to get in, ag has this weird problem of hard finding labor, and there's a whole lot of people who can't find a job. And so it's this weird problem of that. But I always tell people that the feed yard is a great place to start. If you're wanting to work with cattle, that the feed yard is a great place to start. One, because they are always needing help and are always they are always accepting lower skilled labor, which is what you would be if you were just getting into agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
And they have programs where they will pay you to train you. So you don't have to go to a ranch. There's not many ranchers that are good at training. Like, they're trying to hire people who know how to do their job. So you go to a feed yard, 5 Rivers or Cactus, they have these foreman training programs, and they will pay you to train you. And you do that for 3 years, and you could probably go almost wherever you want.
Yeah.
So that's what I pretty much have really low sympathy for people who say it's hard to get into ag, because I'm like, here's the answer. Like, well, I don't want to wait 3 years. And I'm like, well, you're competing against people who have waited 10 years, who have tried for 10 years and are skillful. And so because of social media and me getting asked that all the time and me giving the answer and them not doing it, I've lost a lot of feelings, a lot of feel bad feelings for that. Because I'm 31 and I feel like I'm just now getting the skill set that if I wanted to go to some other ranches, that I would be I could be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that.
Everybody wants that job on a big Texas ranch, and you got your own camp, and they're sending you horses, and you're working cows, and you're branding. Like, everybody wants that job.
Yeah.
But you're also fighting against guys who have been raised in it, who have been doing it for 20 years, 30 years. So, man, the feed yard, if you did that, you would learn so much about nutrition and doctoring cattle and all of those skills you need to go to a ranch.
And to piggyback off for part 2, what is some Tucker Brown just life advice? I mean, what's the key to life for Tucker Brown?
Key to life. Man, for me, I feel like there's a lot of people who have trouble finding or loving themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, the first thing you gotta do is love yourself. And I'm like, dude, that's BS. Because I already know who I am through the blood of Jesus. Like, I know who I am, and I know where I'm going after this, and I don't have any trouble with someone telling me who they think I am, because I already know who I am. That's my first one. Like, that gives me all the confidence and the strength and the foresight I need. The Bible says to pray about everything and not worry about anything, and I take that to heart. There's not much I worry about, which keeps my stress levels pretty low. But there's another one I like that I think a lot of people, especially getting into ag, don't do. But we talked about how the McKee Clinic, like, getting uncomfortable made us so much better. Mm-hmm. And people will say that all the time. And there's one of my favorite Bible verses is in James, and he talks about, like, enjoy the trials of many kinds, because that is what will build you and then make you perfect, or not perfect, but it will make you stronger, and you will not be missing anything. You will be wise because of it. And I feel like so many people try not to get uncomfortable, or don't know why they should be. And man, we see those most successful guys that we see, whether it's in rodeo or ranching or broadcasting, like, those guys have gone through it.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's where a lot of people miss out, that they don't want to get uncomfortable, and then they're competing against guys who have been uncomfortable and gotten through that.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to find that. My football coach, he always said, "Hey, the kite rises against the wind and not with it. So if you're wanting to go up, you better find some adversity, go against it."
I like that.
I mean, look at Wesley Thorpe. His friends told him not to quit football, and now he's a 3-time world champ.
I feel like what's that movie where whatever girls break up with this guy, they get married to the next one. Apparently, I need to start heckling some more young ropers so they can
there you go.
make it to the NFL.
No, man, we appreciate you coming on and being on here and just sharing a little bit about you, because I kind of wanted to get to know you, and I know I called some of my buddies telling them that we're having you on, and they're fans up in Montana. You got fans up north, the snowflies, and so I mean, it's really cool to see what you're doing.
Well, it was cool to meet y'all guys too, because I've seen y'all listened to y'all's podcast with Anthony Lucia and loved it. That was pretty cool. And so And I feel like I've learned a lot about the rodeo announcing world since going to the clinic.
Yeah.
And listening to all the podcasts and y'all's and Cowboy Mafia and Rump Chat and all that. So it's been a really cool, I don't know, last year's just been really neat for me to step into the rodeo world. I've been in the ranch rodeo world and announced some ranch rodeos, but I've never really stepped into the PRCA world. And so it's been really cool to be able to step into that. And it's, they are two different worlds, but there's not many people who are, sharing the story like you or I are. And so it kind of puts us together. And I'm all right with that.
One, thank you so much for tuning in this week to Starch Podcast. We appreciate you guys week after week coming and listening to great stories. Make sure you guys go follow us on Instagram, also on Facebook. Please go check out our YouTube, like and subscribe on YouTube. Share it with all of your friends. We're going to see you guys here in about 2 weeks. It doesn't happen overnight. This is what the Buckle didn't see. That young kid dreaming of the moment, devising week in and week out. Times that took you away from your family, the times you wanted to quit. Those late night drives, all the fears, tears, and doubts. Your hard work made you a champion. And for the last 52 years, we've celebrated